Hey guys, very good morning. My name is Mitlesh Singh, and today I am going to talk about AWS Migration Services, migration from on-prem to the cloud. And this is the part one. And in part one, we will talk about the migration strategy. In migration strategy, there are several parts, and first is the cloud assessment. So the first point come financial assessment or total cost of saving or ownership. So what will be the benefit when I migrate the services? So this is one of the very major part where organization will take the action and do the multiple sessions with the cloud vendor, technical sessions, understand the difference from the on premises and the cloud, and then take decision to move the services. So there are several point of this discussion. One is server hardware and maintenance. So will I maintain the hardware, like will I purchase the hardware when I move the servers over there or not? What will be the like who will take care of the maintenance of the server? So definitely you will not, since you have just migrated and cloud model is pay per use, so you will be responsible of paying the charges of your virtual machine, not backend hardware. Network setup and expenses, so who will pay for this? Will I be paying for ingress egress charges, or I will pay the complete setup like network setup, whatever is designed for at the cloud side? So definitely not. So you will pay only for the network transaction charges. Data center co-located spaces, so in on premises, since you are owning data center, so definitely you will pay each and everything. But in cloud, so you will not pay for the data center space or something, so you will pay only for your resources. Electricity and cooling, storage, so take an example. There is a space like a storage rack is available of 1000 TB, okay, and you are occupying only 100 TB of the storage space from this. So will you pay for complete storage box cost or only whatever you are occupying? So definitely you will pay for what you are using in the cloud. So but in on premises, if you are going to purchase a hardware of storage, right, so you will pay, this is the upfront payment, right? Whether you are using 1 TB or 100 TB, it doesn't matter. So you will pay for complete rack or complete storage boxes. But on cloud, no, you will pay only what you use. Software charges, so software charges, is this weekly, monthly, or annually? So this will also a major part of the discussion, right? How they charge for the software implementation. So when the ever point is clear, now organization think about the implementation. What will be the charges? How much time will it take? How easy is this? How tough is this? What all things need to be take care before moving to the cloud for the implementation? Will I pick the lower or higher environment? So this will come under this point. Then licensing, when you are moving the services, so does AWS provide the licensing? Take an example, if you are deploying migrating a Windows server, so what will be the licensing model? So on AWS, so they are providing the license to you. But take an example, if you are going on Azure, so the license is separate. So for Azure virtual machine, you have to purchase the license or you have to use your own. But in AWS, so it is included. So yes, so this is one of the major part. And apart from Windows, there are several other component where license require. Take an example of your database Linux. So definitely you have to discuss all these things, right, in your financial assessment or total cost of ownership discussion. Administration and staffing, when I move the services over cloud, so is there any like benefit in terms of staffing to me? So is the resource going to reduce, or still it will be the same? So since you are moving the services, the hardware is going away from your organization, so definitely there will be the benefit to the organization. And support model, so what will be the support model? So how are they available? Is this available? Are they available 24 by 7? What will be the charges for critical, medium, low, high tickets? So this will come under your financial assessment and total cost of ownership discussion. Other one is security and compliance assessment. So this is one of another major part. So in this, so the organization think of it or do the brainstorming to understand overall risk tolerance, and the major concern of data like integrity, availability, durability of the data. How are they secure, or is this integrity proper available? What will be the availability? And the next one is security threats. So whatever the servers are you are deploying over there, so is there any security threats or not? So how you can mitigate or protect it? How will you make sure that your resources are well protected over there? So definitely for this, so you have to be train your people, right? You have to understand and do the technical sessions to understand the separate duties of your operation team. What if cloud engineer is stolen data? So there are two types of risk, right? So one, you have deployed a virtual machine but you did not apply proper password, right? Proper password is weak of your operating system, okay? And there is no firewall rule apply properly, like security groups or network security, network access knackle, right? So the server is at risk, okay? So this is one of which you have to take care. But what if you have protected each and everything properly, and if the data is stolen by cloud engineer, right? So what will be the legal action on it? How AWS or other cloud vendor will take care that there is no such thing happen, right? And there is no any risk at your data. So this is definitely, of course, there is a very strong clause, okay? So when you sign with the AWS or any cloud vendor, so they do the background check of their employee. They make sure that the data will not be altered by any of the employees. So they are using the best monitoring things and to protect the customer data. And rollback plan from cloud to on premises. So if you are not satisfied and you are trying to migrate it back to your on premises, so how is easy is this? Is there any challenges of doing this or not? And how can you achieve this? So this will also part of your security and compliance assessment discussion. So to understand security compliance assessment in detail, so you have to understand that this is the shared model, right? So it's not only AWS responsibility. So if you have deployed a virtual machine or migrated data, so there are separated duties separated between you and the cloud vendor. So this chart will give you the better picture, okay? So if you see here, so in the first, this is the customer will take the responsibility, okay? So responsibility for security in the cloud. So this is for the customer data. So that is completely managed by you. If you are migrating any data from on premises to the cloud, so you are owner of the data. Okay. But AWS is owner of the storage. So AWS will make sure that the data, the storage is protected. And you will make sure that the data what you have stored to the AWS, that is protected, and you have given the proper permissions. You are the owner, you can take the decision to delete and allow anyone to access. Platform, like your operating system, applications, identity and access management. So platform, you have to protect your operating system, you have to do the hardening, you have to do the patching, you have to make sure that applications is running in behind the load balancer, and you have given proper permission. You have to make sure that who all can access your cloud console, okay? You have to give the proper permissions to the person, and you have to educate them, right, to use the strong password. They can rotate the password, okay? So there are several things, right, which you can conduct session with them and conduct technical session to make them aware of it. Operating system, network firewall configuration, that is completely your duty, which you can use security group and knackle to protect your environment. Encryption is your duty, whether you want to encrypt your data. Suppose you have deployed a database but you did not apply the encryption, so that is your headache. So it's not AWS responsibility. Server side encryption, yes, it's your duty. Networking traffic protection, it's completely your duty. And the duty of AWS is of cloud security, like compute the hardware where virtual machine is running, database, networking, like network, hardware AWS, okay, like region, availability zones, and edge locations. So these are the duty of AWS, where AWS will make sure that it will not be altered or hacked by anyone. And the above blue part is your responsibility to maintain these things. Connectivity and availability. So definitely you have to think, how will you access through the public network, or create the VPN connection, use direct connection or MPLS connection, static VPN connection. So what will that will be completely your duty. And availability, so yes, so AWS is providing the availability zones, which provide you high availability of your applications. So you have to distribute your applications properly, right, into different availability zone. So if you have two virtual machine of single application, so you should deploy one in availability zone A and other one in availability zone B, so to provide the high availability. Technical assessment to identify opportunities, so this is very critical part, right? So you have to do brainstorming with your technical team and identify which business applications should move to the cloud first. Okay, and you should plan, always plan from the lower environment like development. Does the cloud provider provide all of the infrastructure building blocks we require? Like, will it provide database, operating system, applications? So you have to think all these part. Possibility to reuse our existing resource management. So yes, so you have to look into this. Get rid of support contact of hardware, software, and network. So in this, so once you migrate, so you have to think of how to uh, get rid of the old hardware, space, software, and these things, and how can you take the benefit of AWS. Identify tools and services. So take an example, if you are using DNS in on premises, so if you do not want to manage the server and you want to use the PaaS services, so you can use the AWS DNS service route 53. And there are several other, like take an example, database if you are going to use, or there are so many other features which you can identify, okay, and take the decision whether you want to use the integrated solution on premises or you want to use the AWS. Licensing part, which we already covered. So, and the next one is the backup and recovery. So backup and recovery will come under your tools, okay. So if you are using on premises backup solution like Avamar or any other backup solution, so this is up to you whether you want to deploy a virtual machine over cloud and use, like, do the backup with your Avamar, okay, or you can use the AWS services. So this is completely up to you, and it is recommended to use AWS because there is ingress egress charges, right? Egress charges when the data is being copied from or backup is taken, right? So you have to plan it very well. If you are using the your own solution, right, you are deploying Avamar over there, so you have to keep the Avamar backup server in same regions and availability zones, so that there will not be any charges, right? If you are using two availability zones, so you have to plan two backup server, otherwise the egress charge will apply over here. Or else, if you are not using this and you wanted to move and use the AWS services, so use the AWS backup. So the next one is data migration. Since you decided and did the assessment in detail, so the data migration comes. So first, differentiate available options in detail, right? So what will be the difference between on-premises tools and the AWS tools? Like if you are using file server in on-premises of Windows, right, you can use the FSX over AWS, so which is very cheaper and dynamic, right? So dynamic in terms of you can pay only what you use, but in on premises you pay for whatever dedicatedly assigned to your file server. Migrate NFS to EFS. Understanding different storage options in available in AWS. So when you are migrating data over AWS, so you have to understand the different types of storage where you want to migrate, whether FSX, EFX, or S3 buckets. So that is based on your use cases. So migrate data to S3 and select lifecycle policy. And here there are several class in S3. So you have to decide whether data is frequently used or periodically used. So based on it, so you have to move the data into the proper class, right? And it will give you the lots of benefit in terms of money. Migrate application server from on premises to AWS, so that you have to do the comparisons and verify what you can migrate, right? So take an example, if you have web services and you want to migrate over cloud, so do you want to migrate the virtual machine and then web services, or you, if it is a static website, so you can use the S3 bucket for it. You doesn't require the web services servers, okay? Or you can use the elastic beanstalk. So there are several things which you have to do detailed analysis on it. Migrate database to RDS. So this is your data migration plan, and the next one is the optimization. Okay. So since you have migrated, so first you have to optimize resource based on the demand. If any resource which is underutilized, so you can decrease the size. If any resource which is highly utilized, so you can increase the size. And if there is any resource, right, uh, which has the high utilization, so yes, you can uh, increase the size of it. Improve efficiency. So since in AWS, right, so they provide the several options to verify, okay, if, as I said on ever point, right, so if it is not fully utilized, so you can decrease the size and save the cost of your virtual machine. Leverage RI. So if you know that your virtual machine is used for 1 year or more than 1 year, right? So you can use the purchase the RI, which reduce the cost of your current bill. So it will give you the uh, mask benefit on your billing part. Implement advanced monitoring. So in AWS, so they provide the free tool like CloudWatch, CloudTrail, Performance Insight, config services, okay? So you can use, which is free, okay? And if you want to integrate the any your on-premises tool like Splunk or any other on-premises monitoring tool, so you can use and integrate with AWS to like take the benefit of advanced monitoring. Restructure your application. So take an example, so one of the applications, there are 4 servers running, but not all servers are not fully utilized all the time. So in AWS, what you can do, you can use the auto scaling, right? What does it do? So you set the parameters. If utilization is less than 40%, to it terminate 3 virtual machine and keep one single virtual machine running. And as soon as the utilization goes high from 40 to above, so what does it do? It deploy a new virtual machine. So doing this, basically you save lots of money, okay, and you give the lots of benefit to the organization. Decom your EC2 instance and use S3 for static web hosting, as I discussed before. Or you can use the Beanstalk as well, which is a fully automated solution, right? You can say Scotch kind of solution, right? You need not to do anything. Everything is managed by AWS under Beanstalk. Use compliance policy to track critical items. So take an example, so for the tagging, you can use the compliance policy. For your IAM users rules, you can create the compliance policy. And for security group, if there is any ports are open for everyone, so you can use the compliance policy to monitor all these things and maintain your compliance 100%. Use scheduler to provide self-service to clients. So actually what a scheduler is, so scheduler is one of the best feature of AWS, where you can create the scheduler and give access to the end user, right? End user can decide when to power off the server and power on the server. So take an example, if you have the dev stage server, dev stage is not running 24 by 7, but So if it is not running 24 by 7, so why will you pay for 24 by 7's charges? So you can pay only what you use. So there are two options: either end user or application team will reach out to you and ask to power up the server during this time, and you do this activity on daily basis, or you create a scheduler and give them access directly. Okay, they can decide when they want to power up the server and power on the server. And if they want to change, take an example, today they have decided to power on the server from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., but later, after a few days, so they realize the server need 24 by 7 or only for 4 hours. So they can decide, they can change the time from scheduler, and it take effect on the virtual machine or database, automatically power off it as per the schedule defined by end user. So that's it, guys, for today's session, and I'll prepare the another video, the complete session. Okay, and if you like this video, please share, subscribe, and thumbs up, and give your comment. Thanks for watching.